So, all right. So this is from Black Lives Matter in the same article. So Black Lives Matter leaders have dismissed these conspiracy theories as political disinformation campaign intended to undermine their mission, stressing any donations to the DMC would have to be publicly reported to the Federal Election Commission. However, they have not released particularly detailed information about where donations are going. This is from Black Lives Matter. Right now, our programs are focused on civic engagement, expansion of chapters, arts and culture, organizing and digital advocacy resources and tools. Scales explained during a Reddit Ask Me Anything session last week. Many Reddit users seemed dissatisfied with that response, but Scales did not address subsequent questions about allocation of donations during the chat. Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation did not respond to requests for additional information.
Such as?
Well, I'm not gonna. I stopped reading the article, but so they're talking about additional information on where the money is going. So some activities, I'll continue reading, some activities on the left have raised doubts as well as frustrated by lack of specifics about how funds are distributed and how local chapters obtain resources. BLM has faced similar concerns in the past from the left and the right about its financial structure and spending priorities. Amid the influx of new funds, the BLM Global Network Foundation announced last week it is creating a $6.5 million fund to support grassroots organizing work by affiliated groups starting July 1st. Affiliates can apply for up to $500,000 in multi-year grants. The organization aims to step up its education platform in the year ahead, developing a curriculum around its contributions to media and a political education program. It also plans to devote more research to its arts and culture program. In the upcoming year, we will provide resources to those new to the movement and interested in Black liberation strategies by developing curriculum. In this stunning moment in American history, we will honor those lost and those who have come before us in the fight for Black liberation. Although Black Lives Matter does not fund Democratic candidates, it has launched a What Matter 2020 campaign aimed at increasing the voice of Black voters that could potentially benefit Democrats. The campaign's priorities include racial injustice, economic injustice, LGBTQ rights, voter suppression, and common sense gun laws, all items high on the Democratic Party's agenda. BLM's What Matter 2020 aims to vigorously engage underrepresented communities in the electoral process, educate the Black community about candidates and the issues that impact Black voters, promote voter registration among millennials, Generation Z, the Black community, and allies, and combat the increased threats of disinformation during this election cycle affecting BLM constituents and the public at large.
I don't know, man. I mean, so first they're saying that first they give certain answers and then people want further answers, and then they say they're not getting those further answers, but then you just gave me a whole litany of further answers, including grassroots organizing and grants.
What they did there, but so no one has received these grants. That's one. What they did there was they didn't give specific answers. They didn't answer the questions. And then people pressed further and they did not answer the questions. And then they made a statement saying that these are the things that they intend to do. That's what they did, Mike. They didn't give, when you say they gave certain answers, the certain answers were uncertain answers. They didn't give answers.
Digital organizing and the education and the expanding of their organization and all of that. I mean, that seems like real stuff that you would do if you had funding. I mean, I don't know. It seems like
I guess there would be a paper trail, right?
I mean, I don't know if is that what they were looking for in the article there that they didn't get was a paper trail?
Well, I'll read it again. I'm sorry, I had to open the
I mean, the New York Times is, they've got some respectable stuff. I remember I mean, the New York Times was one of the papers that was that kind of helped us drum up the necessary energy to go into the Iraq War, right? They were like everyone else who, you know, ignored the fact that Iraq let us into the country to, like, you know, see if they were building any kind of like weaponry, or if they had any of this stuff. But like anyone else, you know, they kind of said, let's go in there anyway because they've got a dictator that we should take down, like some like after the fact excuse for war. I mean, they're not a fan of like some like radical black group that's like asking for defunding of the police and like reparations and like abolishing
the New York Times?
The New York Times, yeah.
They're not a fan of?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, what they said was, right now our programs are focused on civic engagement, expansion of chapters, arts and culture, organizing and digital advocacy resources and tools.
Okay. I don't know what I mean. That's supposed to be like bad, or that's supposed
no,
to be like...
I didn't say that was bad. I'm saying, matter of factly, it's really not saying anything.
It's not?
No.
Okay.
No. It's really not.
What is
digital resources and tools?
Yeah, like digital organizing. I mean, this is like...
Yeah,
this
okay.
is like...
Okay.
This is like regular nonprofit stuff.
Okay. Okay. I guess that holds up to scrutiny.
Well, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's too insider talk. Maybe they should have made it like more, you know, accessible. Maybe they should have made it more accessible. I mean, to me, when I hear that stuff, that sounds like all the stuff that I know, like like nonprofits do. Like a
civic
lot of
engagement,
like
expansion of chapters, arts and culture, organizing and digital advocacy resources and tools. That's just, to me, and I get what you're saying because I agree. I think they should have been more accessible, because when you say that, you're not telling me anything. Nor are you telling me that the money is going somewhere worthwhile. It sounds good. It really sounds good.
So now they've got to like show you that it's worthwhile. So like, okay, organizing.
No. I didn't say that. I said you're not telling me that it is.
Okay,
it sounds good.
Okay, so organizing. Me sitting at my computer all day making 100 phone calls or text, trying to get like
you know what Mike, I have to concede that you figured it out, and everybody is wrong for asking their questions and coming to the conclusions that they're coming to. I just got to concede that.
So you speak
you
for
figured it out, Mike. I'm just speaking for people making the argument and asking the questions.
Yeah, but I'm telling you like what I think. Like,
I know.
I'm telling you that they answered the question, or like I'm trying to figure out what would be a better way to answer so you'd be like happy. So I'm telling you what...
No. But what I'm saying is, I just made a point. My point was that there is a conversation about where the money is going from, and the answers aren't satisfactory. And your counterpoint is contrary. Like, it's not something that I just like came up with in my own head, right? Like, this is really the conversation.
So if it's not from you, then don't defend
No,
it is.
It is. It's one of the problems that I have. But
okay,
what
so
I'm saying is...
I'm trying to figure out how to...
Hold on, Mike. Let me say everything I'm going to say so that you can go in. because you're gonna have room to go in, like when I say what I'm about to say. So from what your position is, or what you're doing, is you're saying that, at least from my perspective, that none of these questions that people have are grounded in any sort of sensible sensible thing. Like, it's just not sensible for them to have them based
I never
upon what
said
they've given.
anything.
No,
Never said
I, I
anything like
just
that.
I clearly said, from my perspective.
Well,
I know what
let me-
you didn't say, because you
Can I
didn't
just-
use those words. I didn't hear you say it, but I
Can I just cut
certainly
in for a
said,
minute
from
and
my
just-
perspective.
Please do.
Not to interrupt for a second, but I think I'm gonna head off. Actually, I'm actually
Okay.
got pretty tired. Been up all for a long time. So have a good
Okay,
night.
Joey.
Okay, thanks for
All right,
joining.
Joe.
Stimulating discussion as always. I look forward to watching the rest of it and being on next time. Peace.
Okay. All right. Peace.
Take care.
Take care.
Yeah, Mike.
Raul, Ish, Flav.
Okay.
I just
Peace.
want to I just want to preface, dude. I say exactly what I intend to say. I'm not saying anything more than what I'm saying, so you don't have to put the words in my mouth or defend what you didn't say. Because I specifically said, from my perspective. That's something that you do, so I just want to clarify. You don't have to defend what you didn't say, or put those words in my mouth by virtue of that defense, because I didn't say that you said it. I said, from my perspective, what I am perceiving. I know you didn't say it. That's why I made a point to say, from what I am perceiving.
Okay, your point's taken. Can you continue, please?
Say again?
Your point. I take your point. Continue.
Well, I only had to drive it home because you do it often.
I take your point. Please continue.
Well, again, so from my perspective, it seems like you were saying that all of these people who have these questions their questions are just senseless.
Is that the end of your argument?
That's it.
Okay. So, okay. So you're saying that the answers that they have given do not suffice. So I'm trying to find out what answers need to be given that would suffice. So they mentioned organizing. I mean, is that too vague?
I think it's too vague, since you've been organizing for 5 years. You just got $5 million. Now you're organizing?
Okay, so I'm sitting down at my desk making 100 phone calls. You know, each person is making 100 phone calls, trying to get volunteers to come in and go door to door and recruit, more people into the cause, making phone calls to...
Is that what they're doing?
That's what organizing is.
Well, is that what they're doing?
I don't work for BLM.
Okay, so you're speaking about what you would do.
Not
if you were working for...
not what I
Okay.
would do. What I have done as an organizer.
Okay. But I'm asking you, though, that's the reason why I asked you, is that what BLM is doing?
That's what organizers do.
Is
they'll
that
ask
what
me-
they're doing?
I mean, I just told you I don't work for BLM, so I can only look. This is a
I just wanted to make sure you're not saying that that's what they're doing. That's...
I mean,
'cause
as
you don't really know.
As organizers, we do the same thing. It's a what do you call those things? Not careers, but it's a job. Like that's what organizers do.
Okay.
But I mean, as those kind of organizers, I mean, they organize a lot of like street protests, a lot of marches. They invite speakers. They also, hopefully do the things that you were asking about, like, are they bailing people out of jail and providing funding for all that stuff? But that's I mean,
Did
I mean,
they have any speakers or anything this year come to some protests that they organized?
yeah, yeah.
Who they have?
I don't know, Linda Sarsour and a bunch of other people.
Okay, go on.
Um, I mean, so that's the main part of organize. A lot of it's just like a lot of fucking phone calls, just like lots of phone calls and texting to try to like reach people. Um, and then some of it's like, you know, organizing the marches and all that stuff. What else did they say in that list that was vague besides
Civic
organizing?
engagement.
Civic engagement. What would you, Raul? What would you? What's civic engagement to you?
Uh, getting the leaders of the community to pay attention to the cause, whatever the cause is, and organizing people to put pressure on local officials and civic leaders, pastors, that sort of thing.
Pastors, yeah. Okay.
That's what what I would interpret it as. But I'm a little out of my depth because I'm not particularly an organizer.
Okay. All right. What else? What else is on that list?
Arts and culture.
Arts and culture. Well, I mean, I know that there's a thing where they say, what do they call them? Influencers. They try to get people who are, you know, famous or semi-famous to like try to like weigh in so that people will want to get down. You know, maybe they're like going to events and uh, going to concerts and stuff like that, like places where, I don't know, places where they can kind of like mix their message into some fun or something like that. That one, that one, that one's kind of, that one's a little bit vague. What else?
Digital advocacy resources and tools.
Okay, yeah, that one to me is that one I know like most of what we used to do on the ground, like all the door-to-door stuff that I came out of, it's been replaced by like Facebook stuff, like emails, like you'll get emails talking to you about the problem. It'll include your name in there. It'll tell you about like this moment in history where we're at. It'll ask you for a contribution. It'll ask you to become like a part of the moment. Like digital organizing is like a big part of like what movements do now. It's where a majority of not just the fundraising, but the like educating and the keeping people involved comes in. So it used to be, you know, maybe like a guy like me coming to your door, knocking, having a face-to-face conversation, but it's much cheaper and you can reach way more people, you know, doing it through Facebook, emails, Twitter, you know, all the social media and stuff like that. So I know you're laughing at that one, but that's the one that makes the most sense to me that like, you know, that I see like all the time, like my organization.
I
So
also
that's
have to say that my business has changed 100% towards that area, towards digital type organizing, because the amount of time that you spend going door to door is not really worth it when you can reach 10 times the amount of people in about half the time.
Oh, I mean, way more than that.
Yeah.
And like,
so that's
I'm
the
just being
only
conservative.
one.
yeah,
That's the only one that makes sense. And all of the rest of them, while there are viable definitions and you know, everything that you said is viable, they also work as a way to kind of just be like a blanket. They also work as just blanket statements.
yeah. I mean, like I said, maybe they should have made the message more accessible. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say, but as soon as I heard those things, I mean, they're all very familiar to me. But maybe your point is like you can't just use like insider language to people who know your industry. You got to like make it more accessible to people. Maybe the person
Well,
on the
you call yourself Black Lives Matter, right?
yeah.
And if a bunch of black people who perhaps can't really spare $50 or $100 to donate to you, but they do it anyway, right? You would imagine if you call yourselves Black Lives Matter, you want to say something that relates to them when they ask where their money's going. You want to say something that makes them feel good about giving the $50 that they probably couldn't spare. At least one thing.
I mean, but they did say a few things.
Well,
It just wasn't satisfactory.
what does that?
to
What?
them.
No. What does that mean to Martha, who can't spare her $50? What does that mean to her? Really, I understand. We understand, but what does that really mean? Like, how does that show her how her dollar impacts the thing?
Yeah. I guess there's got to be better. I guess there's got to be better messaging. Your dollar will go towards, making sure people in your community who care about your issue, are prepared when they go to march in the streets and, have water and are educated on how to deal with any police they may encounter or will be inspired by.
Now, I don't even
speakers
know
in
if
our
you're being
community.
sarcastic enough, but that makes sense.
I'm not being
You see-
sarcastic.
Okay.
I'm thinking on my feet, like, about what they should have said to, like, be more, to be more accessible.
Now, the rich people who donated absolutely want to know. Now, don't get me wrong, because this. I'll say something. I'll take it a step further, right? I've often argued with people, and who go to my church, right? And my biggest argument with them is they always want to know where their money is going.
Okay.
And my response, and they're like, "Ish, you never want to know?" Dude, I don't care but this is, I guess it's maybe not a fair comparison, right? I never want to know. Me and my wife always have these conversations like, I don't care. And the reason why is because I didn't give. I know why I gave, right?
Okay.
I know why I gave. I didn't give so that I could, one, be recognized for giving, and two, itemize where, like, where the dollar that I gave you went. Oh, you got a new suit. Is that where my money? Like, that's not the spirit that I gave in. You see what I'm saying? So I'm always arguing with people. They're like, "Ish, you don't." I'm like, no, I don't care. I didn't give in that spirit where, one, I wanted to be recognized for giving, and two, I want an account of why. If that was the case, I just wouldn't have given. I would have just went and, you know what I'm saying? When I do give money, I certainly question, and not because I'm like, when I give money to charities or what have you, I want to know how the money's being spent because I'm questioning the charity. I want to make sure it's above board. I don't want you to tell me, oh, it's going for organizing. I want you to tell me it's going to help these people here who need it. Because if not, I'm just going to find a charity that will do that. It's going to feed these people who haven't been able to get food. Or it's gonna, and I'll be able to follow that trail. Not because I want to be recognized, but because the spirit that I'm donating in is the spirit that genuinely wants to see people impacted by my dollar. That it actually affects people. And if you say to me, well, we need to raise more money because we need to hire more people to be able to, then okay. I'll give you my money.
Well, I mean, yeah, it sounds to me like maybe it was a disconnect. I mean, it took me a few rounds with you to say something that was, like, satisfactory. Of course, I was defending it, and I wasn't the person who wrote it. And again, I'm an insider, so all that stuff, like, made sense to me. But maybe this is why organizations fail, because they can't connect to the people. Uh, One thing I will say, and maybe this has been a subtext the whole time, and maybe I've been kind of feeling some kind of way and not actually expressing it, is like I have to wonder if when these kind of organizations try to represent us, if we have some kind of, if we're like held to a different standard, if like, Black people have been fucked over so many times that they are, that folks like yourself are being a lot more suspicious about an organization like BLM than we are. Ah, shit, I'm a motherfucker. Bounced.
Oh,
He'll be back. Well, my point was, are we holding?
I didn't like the hostility, man. That was getting a little intense.
Ish is like.
It's just passionate. It's just passionate.
Yeah, the thing about Ish is like, this is kind of like, we kind of measure, we try to measure this stuff, because like, if we turn it down and we don't let the passion come
True.
through, sometimes
True.
we look at it and it's like I've been on Zooms where I was like, oh man, I was kind of like holding back the whole time. So I apologize if that made you uncomfortable.
No, I was just wondering if you guys were really in a tussle or just as a
Nah,
disagreement.
Ish is my brother and I love him, and
Good.
I think
Because I like him too.
I think this is how we kind of wrestle sometimes.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. We had a discussion earlier, and we were talking about the difference between how women enter a discussion with a group of people and how men enter a discussion amongst a group of people, and then
Right.
how different groups, maybe groups of all men, groups of like, Black men, groups of urban folks, groups of folks from the hood, and I was getting some pushback, like, oh no, women are just as assertive as men in these situations, and blah blah blah. And I was like, that hasn't been my experience, but that's fine. I said, I think women are often smarter, and they'd rather not enter.
Engage. Yeah.
They'd rather not engage in yelling, because it's not
Productive.
it's not productive.
Yeah.
Whereas I think men sometimes work it out that way.
Right. Do we get Ish back?
Yeah.
Yay, Ish.
I forgot my phone was dying.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's all right, Ish.
Yeah, so Raul, every once in a while, me and Mike will turn up on each other. Don't let that.
Yeah, I just was talking about it. I was like, man, I hope this isn't real. Like, I hope this isn't a serious thing.
Oh no,
I just got to know you guys, and I was like, man, this is a sucky thing for me to be, in the middle.
No, this is on that ish. Mike probably told you the same thing. Like it ain't,
I just hope we didn't scare Joey away.
I think Joey was actually tired. He was starting to yawn and stuff and stretch out and stuff. So I was thinking he was going to bounce anyway.
Yeah, when my phone died, I was thinking, oh man, Raul, I hope he doesn't feel, that like we don't do it often, but every once in a while we get passionate about something and
that's important. You got, people need to believe in what they stand for. I totally see that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much you heard, Ish. I think you were gone by that time. But yeah, I was basically telling him there have been times where we have chosen to hold back from that style of passion, and it's kind of wasn't good for the show. So we kind of like we try to, we tweak it, we turn up, turn down, try to find that ground that like works. But sometimes that means we are going to turn up. I do find it. I also told him I find it interesting, the conversation we were having earlier about the difference between how men and women, converse. And how we argue. But okay, so the last point that I was making was, do you think that there is a different standard that BLM is being held to than other groups.
For sure.
Okay. That's
For
fair.
sure.
I
Okay.
think it is from what you said. I believe it was you, Flav, that black people have been fucked over so much that you know another group fucking you over would not be a surprise at this point.
Yeah, especially if they claim to be for your
Yeah,
interest, right?
exactly.
But no, I mean, Ish, I mean, what you said in our argument, like that might be real. Like, dude, I might be organizing someday, you know, in a very marginalized neighborhood, and I might have to remember some of these lessons learned here today. I might have
Yeah,
to like remember my Malcolm X message, make it plain, you know. I might be talking to someone on the phone, and I might be tired after that 100th phone call, and get someone who maybe I could have gotten to come in and believe in what I was doing, and I start saying stuff like organizing and digital organizing and arts and whatever, and they're like, and either don't come in or say they're going to come in. That's a big one in organizing. Say they're going to come in, and then you never see them, right? So yeah, that's real. That's definitely real. And we got to be able to
You
connect
know,
with people.
speaking to your point and also speaking to Raul's point about that, you know, that's something that I consider as well. Like, but I imagine, which it even adds to, you know, what I'm kind of insinuating about the money trail, because, you know, one, that's always going to matter. Two, as Black people and as a Black group that rose up so quickly and has put themselves in such a position of prominence and power in our country, they have to expect that they're going to be held to a higher standard, or at least different standards. Like, they had to know that going in.
yeah, that's probably true. I would
Right.
say that they were expecting it, or they should have expected it anyway.
Right. They, you know, and for sure, I do think they're held to a higher standard, as I would any organization that operates on that level, that comes from and is for marginalized people. I mean, somebody said a couple of weeks ago on social media who is opposed to Black Lives Matter altogether. And mind you, you know, I try to look at things, you know, from a non-biased perspective. Again, I
Right.
told you I have a problem with the organization, but that doesn't mean that there are things that I see within the organization. For instance, this person was like, fill in the blank, right? And he was like, blank is an organization that is looking to gain political position and power. And he was trying to be a jerk about it, you know, and I came on and I was like, the blank is BLM. And if it isn't, it should be.
Hmm.
They should be trying to gain political position and power.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Because,
if I'm sorry, go on, Ro.
no, I said because that's how you help the people that you're claiming to help. So
Right. And so yeah, that's I'm like the group, the blank is BLM, and because I knew what he was doing, but I tried to flip it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's BLM, and if it isn't, it should be.
Yeah.
If BLM wasn't your blank, well, it should be. What are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, it absolutely should be the blank. They should be trying to get position and power, political position and power. Like, what are they doing? Are they just trying to be, you know, a Mary Poppins group?
Right.
No one's going to take that seriously. You don't have
Right.
any bargaining chips. You don't have a real platform. You just have teaspoons of sugar.
Getting back to the message, Raul, that you had mentioned about how far we've come when it comes to political movements
Mhm.
like BLM. I mean, I've said the issue a few times. Over 5 years ago, or now over 10 years ago, I couldn't walk into some random bar and start talking to some white dude about white supremacy. He'd probably think
Right.
I was some kind of like militant jerk or something.
Sure.
Now I
Sure.
can walk into any random bar and start talking about white supremacy, and I'll have white people agreeing with me. That's kind of revolutionary.
I was going to say the word revolutionary too.
I mean,
Because
it really is.
the discussion is where it all begins and ends. We're running out of time, but the discourse is important, and the discourse between people that don't agree even more important, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. That's an excellent point. I was saying that in the one show we did, the one 5-hour segmented show. Like, dialogue is important.
Yeah, it's super important.
That's why I keep bringing up that
don't-
Eamon Bundy thing. That is like,
Yes.
I want to talk to that guy and like pick his brain and like I want
Send him an email.
Yeah, maybe we could get him on the show.
That would be crazy.
Seriously, reach
crazy.
out. Remember I told you back early on when we were planning this 2 years ago, like, and I know people would have hated me for it, but I wanted to go to see Dylan Roof in prison. And talk to him and interview him. And not to give him any shine. Like, we could argue. I don't care. I want to know what compels you to walk up into a church. Like, say it.
Yeah,
I'm afraid that many people would find that answer terrifying-ish.
I know, but hey.
Listen, no, I know.
Listen, I don't have a problem with controversy, and I want the compelling stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as there is a an outcome that's worth that pain, you know what I mean? As long as there is is it curiosity? Is it morbid curiosity, or is it like, are we actually going to get to something that will help us heal or help us make things better?
Well,
and are we even equipped to do something at that level?
Well, so I think that me personally, from a creative perspective, right? I think that nailing that nail into a piece of wood is easier said than done. I think things like that you discover organically during the process.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You can't really be like, oh, well, my plan is to do this to achieve this, because you never know what the fruit of that labor is going to be.
And how far it'll go.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And you might get bad fruit, and it might not even be worth, putting out for public consumption.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It might just be, so it happens during the process organically, because, it's a creative thing, and you could have all the best intentions, or you can manufacture the best intentions, because that's kind of what you would have to do, right? Because the reality is, when I really think about it, well, there's not a morbid curiosity for me. There's certainly a curiosity, but then I'd have to begin to explore what my curiosity is. Is it just the controversial interview, or is it, and I'm sure on some level there's that, if I'm being real, but then there's also, this type of curiosity where I genuinely want to know, like, dude, you know what I mean? You killed 9 Black people in a church. Like, it's not about really giving you a voice or giving you a platform or highlighting you. There's something in me that, if given the opportunity, I know me, right? I would sit down and have a conversation with this person. Maybe not him, but anyone in that situation. And the same as I would sit down and have a conversation with, a Black guy who murdered a bunch of people or what have you. Like, I would have that conversation, especially if I had a platform. Like, I'd have the conversation. And it would probably be for as many altruistic reasons as I could come up with, as selfish reasons.
Right, because it's a variety of things, actually.
Right. It's not just one thing that you can pin down. And maybe it's something that I can't even put my finger on until I go through the experience.
Yeah, I guess the notoriety thing of people like that, I guess, is the inherent danger. Is some of these people want to live with some kind of notoriety, and are we giving them what they want, by letting them be viewed that way?
I think that's something that you're always subjective to. I think for me, it's how you view things. Like, it's your own perspective. Like, what I mean is that person may feel a way,